You know what they say about revenge? It's a dish best served with a mop and bucket. I'm Hunter Blake, 49 years old, and let me tell you how I ended up cleaning toilets in my own company just to catch a spoiled brat who thought she was untouchable. I built Phoenix systems from nothing, started in my garage in Dallas back in 1998, writing code until my eyes bled, surviving on coffee and pure stubbornness. 25 years later, we're pulling in $400 million annually with 850 employees in a 22-story glass tower downtown. Not bad for a guy who started with a beat-up laptop and a dream. But here's the thing about building something with your bare hands. You never really retire from it. Even when you step back to chairman emeritus, hand over the CEO reins, and try to enjoy your golden years, that company is still your baby. So when whispers start reaching you about the culture going straight to hell, about entitled brats treating good people like garbage, you don't send a strongly worded email. You put on work boots and find out for yourself. That's how I ended up in a gray jumpsuit at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning, pushing a squeaky mop bucket through the lobby of my own building. The security guard, a new guy named Logan Pierce, barely glanced at my temporary contractor badge. To him, I was just another invisible worker keeping the machine running. The elevator ride to the 15th floor felt longer than usual. Maybe because I wasn't wearing my usual $3,000 suit and Italian leather shoes. Today, I was wearing steel-toed boots that squeaked on the marble, carrying a spray bottle like it was my weapon of choice. The doors opened, and I smelled it right away. Not just the usual office smell of coffee and stress, but something uglier. Fear. The kind of toxic atmosphere that spreads like cancer when good people get terrorized by bad managers. That's when I met Ashley Monroe. Picture this, 25 years old, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail that probably cost more than most people's car payment, wearing a designer suit that screamed daddy's money. She was holding court near the break room, talking loud enough for everyone to hear about her weekend in the Hamptons, while 3 junior developers stood around looking miserable. The networking event was absolutely divine, she was saying, waving her $7 latte around like a conductor's baton. I told the Goldman Sachs partner that our Q3 numbers were going to be spectacular. Of course, I'm the one making that happen. Some people around here just don't understand aggressive growth strategies. That's when physics decided to humble her a little bit. She spun around for dramatic effect, and that expensive coffee went flying everywhere. It hit the glass wall, splashed on the floor, and got all over my work boots. The silence was immediate and heavy. I looked at the mess. In my old life, this would be the moment when 3 assistants appeared with towels and apologies, but I wasn't the chairman anymore. I was the help. Ashley looked at the puddle, then at me. Not at me, really. Through me. Like I was a piece of furniture that happened to be in her way. God, what a disaster, she muttered, checking her manicured nails for damage. Then she looked in my general direction. Hey, janitor, clean this up before the VP comes through. It looks unprofessional. The tone wasn't angry. It was bored, like she was talking to Alexa, and it wasn't responding fast enough. I gripped the mop handle tighter. For about 2 seconds, I wanted to tell her exactly who she was talking to. I wanted to see that entitled smirk melt off her face when she realized she'd just ordered the founder around. But that would have blown my cover before I learned anything useful. Yes, ma'am, I mumbled, keeping my head down. She walked away without another word, heels clicking on the marble, leaving me to clean up her mess. As I mopped up that lukewarm coffee, I made myself a promise. Ashley Monroe had no idea what kind of storm was heading her way. The next few weeks were like getting a master's degree in workplace psychology. When you're invisible, you see everything. I watched Ashley operate like a shark in expensive clothing. She had this system down to a science. Kiss up to anyone with power, kick down at anyone without it. I saw her corner Jared Wilson, one of our best developers, in the copy room. This kid was brilliant, writing code that could save us millions, but he was quiet, introverted. Ashley had him practically shaking in his sneakers. The client demo is Friday, she was telling him. I promised Nicole Patterson it would be flawless. If there are any bugs, any crashes, any problems at all, I'm going to make sure everyone knows it was your fault. Jared tried to explain that the timeline was impossible, that rushing the code would create security vulnerabilities. Ashley cut him off like he was a telemarketer. I don't want to hear excuses. I want results. And Jared? I have Nicole's ear. One word from me about your performance and you'll be coding freelance websites from your parents' basement. I was emptying the recycling bin 3 feet away. To them, I might as well have been wallpaper. But I heard every word, and I was taking mental notes that would come in handy later. You learn a lot about people when they think you can't do anything for them. It's like having X-ray vision into their character. And what I was seeing at Phoenix Systems wasn't pretty. Ashley's operation reminded me of those nature documentaries where you watch a predator stalk its prey. She had patterns, territories, favorite hunting spots. The break room was her main feeding ground, where she'd corner employees who couldn't escape. I watched her pull the same power play on Morgan Taylor from accounting. Poor Morgan was a single mom, worked nights to support her kid, always polite and hardworking. She'd questioned one of Ashley's expense reports, probably the $15,000 shopping spree Ashley had charged to the company credit card. "Morgan, sweetie," Ashley said, using that fake sweet voice that made my skin crawl. "I think there's been a little misunderstanding about my expenses. Those were legitimate business purchases. Client entertainment, you know how it is." Morgan tried to explain that $2,000 at Nordstrom didn't look like client entertainment. Ashley's mask slipped for a second, then snapped back into place. "Well, bless your heart for being so thorough," she said. "But maybe accounting should focus on, accounting? Leave the strategic purchases to people who understand them." The threat was wrapped in Southern charm, but it was still a threat. Morgan backed down, probably thinking about her mortgage and her kids' daycare bills. That's how bullies win. They pick targets who can't afford to fight back. But Ashley's real masterpiece was what she did to our facility's staff. She treated them like they were invisible, which is exactly why my undercover mission was working so well. I watched her walk past Maria, our night janitor, like she was a piece of equipment. Maria had been with us for 8 years, sent Christmas cards to clients when their pets died, knew everyone's coffee order by heart. To Ashley, she was furniture. The breaking point came on a Thursday afternoon in the break room. I was fixing a loose cabinet door, the kind of maintenance that keeps a building running but goes unnoticed by the suits. Ashley walked in with her 2 sidekicks, Logan Pierce and Colton Pierce. These guys were wannabe executives who followed her around like loyal puppies. They were laughing about some cruel prank they'd pulled on Morgan. Apparently, they'd convinced her there was a mandatory weekend meeting, made her arrange childcare, then never showed up. Just for kicks. You should have seen her face when she realized Ashley was giggling. Priceless. Maybe now she'll think twice before questioning my spending. That's when she noticed me. Or rather, noticed an opportunity for some fun. She was holding a turkey sandwich from some fancy deli downtown, still half wrapped. She looked at her buddies, then at me, and I could see the wheels turning in her entitled little brain. "Watch this," she whispered, loud enough for me to hear. She walked over to where I was kneeling by the cabinet. I was focused on the screws, trying to look busy. Without warning, she accidentally dropped the sandwich. Not in the trash, not on the floor, right on my back. The cold turkey and mayo splattered against my shirt. Mustard dripped down my spine. It wasn't just food, it was deliberate humiliation in front of witnesses. "Oops," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. Clumsy me. Gravity's such a pain, isn't it? Her friends were snickering behind their hands like middle school kids. I stood up slowly, feeling the condiments sliding down my back. For the first time since I'd started this undercover thing, I looked Ashley directly in the eyes. "You did that on purpose," I said quietly. Her smile vanished for a split second, then hardened into something nasty. She stepped closer, getting right in my face, and I could smell her expensive perfume mixed with something rotten underneath. "Excuse me?" she hissed. "I think you're confused about your place here. Accidents happen, just like it would be an accident if I filed a complaint about your attitude. I hear the cleaning company has a zero-tolerance policy for rudeness." She made a show of reading my name tag. "Clean yourself up, Hunter, and don't ever speak to me like that again. You're here to scrub toilets, not to think." She turned and walked away, her entourage trailing behind, leaving me standing there with sandwich meat in my hair and my blood pressure through the roof. That night, I didn't go back to my penthouse apartment. I stayed in the building. I went to the server room, used my old access codes that still worked, and started digging. Security footage of the sandwich incident. Check. Email threads where Ashley bragged about manipulating her coworkers. Check. Expense reports showing she'd been treating the company credit card like her personal shopping fund. Double check. But the real jackpot was her computer. Ashley had left herself logged in, and her files were like a roadmap to corporate sabotage. She'd been deliberately screwing up projects, stealing credit, and planning to frame other employees for her mistakes. She had a folder labeled Career Strategy that was basically a hit list of everyone she planned to destroy on her way to the top. Jared Wilson was target number 1. She'd been setting him up to take the fall for a coding disaster she was planning to cause. The kid didn't even know what was coming. I copied everything. Every email, every document, every piece of evidence of her toxic behavior. Then I started planning my comeback tour. You know that old saying about giving someone enough rope to hang themselves? I was about to hand Ashley Monroe an entire hardware store. The company-wide meeting was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Quarterly results, strategic updates, the usual corporate dog and pony show. I sent out an email from my chairman account, the one Ashley didn't know existed, announcing that I would be attending to address some important cultural issues. The buzz around the office was instant. The founder's coming back. I heard he's been investigating the company. Someone's about to get their walking papers. Ashley, meanwhile, was strutting around like she owned the place. I overheard her telling Nicole Patterson that she was ready to interface with leadership and share her vision for the company's future. Old guys like that need fresh perspective, she said, loud enough for half the floor to hear. He's probably going to ask me about modernizing operations. I've got a whole presentation ready about eliminating dead weight. Dead weight. That's what she called the people who actually kept the company running. The folks who showed up every day, did their jobs, and didn't spend their time playing political games. I spent the weekend putting together my presentation. Not PowerPoint slides. Something better. Video evidence, email screenshots, financial records, everything organized like a prosecutor building a case. Because that's exactly what I was doing. Monday rolled around like Christmas morning for someone who's been very, very good all year. Ashley was practically bouncing off the walls, telling anyone who would listen about her big plans for the company. I'm going to suggest a complete restructuring, she announced during the morning stand-up. We need to cut the fat, streamline operations, focus on core competencies. That's Business School 101. Jared Wilson looked sick. He knew he was on her hit list, but he had no idea how deep the hole she'd dug for him really was. Poor kid was probably updating his resume already. Tuesday morning arrived, and I got to the building early, used the executive elevator to my old office suite and put on my navy blue Armani suit. The one I wore when we went public, the one that meant serious business was about to happen. The auditorium was packed, all 850 employees plus remote folks streaming live. I watched from backstage as Ashley made her entrance wearing what looked like a $2,000 outfit and enough confidence to power the building. She took a seat in the front row, right where I wanted her. The lights dimmed, the introductory video played, highlights of Phoenix Systems history, shots of the early days in my garage, our first office, our IPO celebration, the usual corporate nostalgia trip. Then the spotlight hit the podium and I walked out. The applause started normal, then got weird, then died completely. Because I wasn't doing the friendly founder wave. I wasn't smiling like some benevolent grandfather figure. I was standing behind that podium like a judge about to deliver a verdict, staring straight at Ashley Monroe. I watched her face as it hit her. The confusion first. Why does he look familiar? Then the pieces falling into place. The height, the voice, the hands she'd seen mopping floors for weeks. Her expression went from smug confidence to pure terror, faster than a slot machine jackpot. "Good morning," I said into the microphone. My voice echoed through the dead silent auditorium. For those who don't know me, I'm Hunter Blake, founder and chairman emeritus of Phoenix Systems. You could hear people shifting in their seats, whispers starting. For the past month, I continued, I've been working among you in a different capacity. I've been part of the facilities team, cleaning your offices, emptying your trash, and watching how we treat each other when we think no one important is looking. The silence was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Every eye in the place was glued to me. I've seen managers steal credit from their teams. I've watched executives plan layoffs while booking first-class business trips. And I've witnessed an associate product manager throw food at a janitor because she thought it was funny. I clicked my remote. The big screen behind me lit up with crystal clear security footage, Ashley dropping that sandwich on my back, her friends laughing, her cruel smile as she walked away. The collective gasp from 850 people was something to hear. Phones were coming out, people were turning to stare at Ashley like she'd just been exposed as an alien. "Ashley Monroe," I said, my voice cutting through the noise. "Please stand up." She didn't move. She was frozen solid, white as a ghost, probably wondering if this was some kind of nightmare she could wake up from. "Stand up," I said again. Slowly, painfully, like she was moving through quicksand, Ashley got to her feet. She looked like she was about to throw up. "You told your colleagues that older employees like me were dead weight," I said, reading from my notes. "You threatened Jared Wilson's job to cover up your own mistakes. You stole $15,000 from the company credit card for personal shopping. And you threw food at an employee while calling it an accident." The crowd was getting restless. I could hear angry muttering, see heads shaking in disgust. Ashley's two sidekicks had somehow managed to disappear into their seats like they were trying to become invisible. "Your employment at Phoenix Systems is terminated, effective immediately," I announced. "Security will escort you out. Don't worry about your personal items. We'll mail them to you." Two real security guards appeared at the end of her row. As they moved toward her, Ashley finally found her voice. "This isn't fair," she stammered. "I didn't know. You can't just—" "Actually," I said calmly, "I can. I built this company. I decide what kind of people work here." As security took Ashley's arms and started walking her up the aisle, I called out one last time. She stopped and looked back at me, this woman in the navy suit who used to clean her messes. "Oh, and Ashley?" I said into the microphone. The whole room held its breath. "You missed a spot." The door swung shut behind her with a satisfying thud. Game over. I turned back to the crowd. The energy in that room had completely flipped. People were sitting up straight, paying attention like their careers depended on it. Which, honestly, they probably did. "This is day one of the new Phoenix Systems," I said. "We're putting in a zero-tolerance policy for workplace harassment. We're raising base wages for all support staff by 25%, and we're going to make damn sure that every single person in this company gets treated with respect." The applause started slowly at the back where the facilities folks were standing. Then it spread like wildfire. People were on their feet, cheering, some of them actually crying. Maria from the night shift was clapping so hard I thought she might hurt herself. But I wasn't done yet. To the managers who think bullying is leadership, update your resumes. To the executives who think respect is optional, clean out your desks. And to everyone else who's been keeping this company running while dealing with toxic behavior, thank you. Your patience is about to pay off. 3 hours later, I was back in my real office, looking out over Dallas, sipping whiskey that cost more than Ashley's daily Starbucks budget. My assistant knocked and stuck her head in. "Sir, there's something outside your door." I walked out to find that squeaky yellow mop bucket sitting in the hallway like a faithful dog waiting for its owner. Someone had tied a red ribbon around the handle. "Bring it in," I told her. She rolled it into my office, looking confused but smart enough not to ask questions. I poured myself another whiskey and raised the glass to that beat-up bucket. "To the janitors," I said quietly, "and a cleaning house." The aftermath was swift and brutal. Ashley's two sidekicks, Logan and Colton Pierce, were gone by Thursday. Nicole Patterson, the director who'd been enabling the toxic behavior, got demoted to senior analyst. The company lawyers were having field days with the expense fraud cases. But the real changes were smaller and more important. Jared Wilson got promoted to lead developer and a $20,000 raise. Morgan Taylor moved up to senior accountant with her own team. Maria got a day shift position with better hours so she could see her kids more. The anonymous tip line we set up got 47 reports in the first week. Turns out Ashley wasn't the only problem. She was just the loudest one. We cleaned house from top to bottom, and it felt like opening windows in a stuffy room. I got a call from Ashley's father 2 days later. He was some big-shot investment banker who thought he could intimidate me into giving his princess her job back. "This is ridiculous," he huffed. "Ashley is a Stanford MBA with a bright future. You're destroying her career over a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," I told him. "Your daughter is a workplace predator who got caught on camera. She's lucky I'm not pressing charges for theft. I'll have my lawyers call your lawyers." "Good luck with that," I said, and hung up. The best part came 2 weeks later. Jared Wilson walked into my office with a laptop and a huge grin. "Mr. Blake," he said, "remember that code Ashley was trying to rush? The one she threatened to blame me for?" I nodded. "Well, I fixed it. Not only does it work perfectly, but it's going to save us about $2 million a year in server costs. That kid had turned Ashley's sabotage attempt into a company-saving innovation. Sometimes, justice has a sense of humor. The mop bucket stayed in my office for about a month before I finally moved it to the facility's storage room where it belonged. But every morning when I walked past it, I remembered what I'd learned down there in the trenches. You can't run a company from an ivory tower. You can't understand your culture from a boardroom table. Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty, put on a uniform, and see what's really happening on the ground floor. Ashley Monroe taught me that lesson, though I doubt she meant to. She thought she was untouchable because she had an MBA and a trust fund. She figured people like me, older, blue-collar at heart, were dinosaurs ready for extinction. She was wrong about that. Dead wrong. The company's different now. Better. People say please and thank you to the cleaning staff. Managers actually manage instead of just giving orders. We've got this new program where executives have to spend a day doing frontline work every quarter. You'd be amazed how quickly attitudes change when the VP of marketing has to empty trash cans for 8 hours. I still see Ashley sometimes on LinkedIn trying to rebuild her career. Last I heard, she was working for some startup that'll probably crash and burn within a year. Her 2 sidekicks are selling insurance or something equally fitting. Meanwhile, Phoenix Systems is thriving. Employee satisfaction is up 40%. Turnover is down to almost nothing. Productivity is through the roof. Turns out when you treat people with dignity, they'll move mountains for you. The building still hums the same way on the 22nd floor. The carpet in the lobby is still that specific shade of gray that hides coffee stains. But the culture? That's something new. Something clean. Sometimes the best view really does come from the ground floor. And sometimes the most important work gets done with a mop and bucket in your hands. Ashley learned that lesson the hard way. She just learned it about 6 weeks too late.
It was made by Corsigus. Are you surprised that it was rigged? Yeah. Corsigus, I heard nothing, and you didn't get feet pics. Okay. Let me rig it for... Oh, don't look at that. That's my mix it up. Don't look at that. Streaks? No. Oh gosh, I froze it again. I can't. I shouldn't be fiddling on stream. I should know better. I should know better than to do this.
It's your birthday. It's your birthday, baby. It's your birthday. It's your birthday, baby.
Please no jump scares tonight. I'm worried about my heart. Last night, my heart rate got so high. Okay, wait. Shush. Hold on. I think this was the sound. Wait. Oh, that's why. I screwed up. I'm sorry. None of you are surprised that I screwed up. Because you've all been here before. Here we go. New 2, this is for you. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Here we go. Can you hear it? Oh gosh, please tell me you can hear it. Maybe it was too quiet with the music. No, there's no music playing either. Okay, good. You're good. Okay, we're fine. No more fiddling. I don't need to fiddle anymore. We're good. I'm gonna minimize that. Hi. Who did the hey you guys? JP did. Hi. Hi, JP. I heard nothing. Okay, yeah. JP's gonna send you feet pics on my behalf. His feet are much nicer than mine, I'm sure. Pretty sure JP gets pedicures and stuff, so I'll defer to him. You can request JP feet pics through my stream if you wish.